coming back for more of this abuse. I guess you must enjoy something about me here. I'm not sure though. How you been?
Good. How are you?
In an oddly strange place. Like as I told her, I my podcast seems to have magically blown up since like yesterday, and I don't know why. It's one of those. It's one of those moments. I just maybe you can understand. Maybe there's a point with like you grind for such a long time with whatever projects you're working on, right? And maybe maybe like again, you're not doing anything special. Just one day, the universe just says, "I give up." Here you
Yep.
go.
Yep. Gives you a high five and off you go. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like I was just saying to you before we started, like sometimes you just don't know why and you just ride it out, right?
Yeah.
Ride it
Well,
out.
yeah. I mean, it's just something you're doing. It's obviously working, and it just whatever it is, you just do it. Like I said, I've been doing podcasts a lot more regularly now. So, and I've watched it grow. Like compared to where I was like less than a year ago, it's been growing pretty steadily. Like for the next little while. So, I mean, with what I'm about to try next, this actually works to my benefit because it's like, hey, I have an audience, and that's always
Exactly.
that's
That's
that's one.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
I
So
knew it would. It's just gonna get bigger.
yes, yes. I just got to figure out the immediate future and then go from there. It's been like an up and down. Like I can actually talk about it now. It's kind of cool. I was working for an immigration show, and the
Okay.
contract went out. That again, another like when I started with the show, it was at something like 500. Like the channel was at 500, like 500 plays for YouTube. They're a company, so they have a little bit more reach to reach out to people than me. But by the time I walked away from the show, they were at 11. Their average views were 9,000 views. That's their average. So yeah, so it's the first time in my life I felt like I did too good of a job. I've never been let go for doing a good job. Like working with what I had, with the limitations I had, we created like, and not just me. My co-host did a wonderful job herself, and we built a show from scratch. We built a concept and a formula that works. Obviously, in other words, no matter how much advertising they would have put in, it wouldn't have picked up and stayed up. But yeah, so now, but then they changed directions. They're upping production values, and they said, "Josh, we don't want your services anymore." And that's kind of like that's so it's a strange thing on the one hand because it's like this is the first time in my life I felt like I've been let go because I was successful, and that's a weird
It's a great
headspace,
feeling.
right? Well, yeah, it's a weird headspace. Like I've been fired because I've sucked. I
Yeah,
mean,
we
yeah,
all have. Yeah.
yeah, I've been fired because I've sucked, but I did a good job, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, why? But hey, whatever. I mean, that's where I'm at right this minute. But yeah, so I'm trying something new, and last week, like I told you, I ended up getting a job interview for something that I thought about that for a second. It's like, wait, I could do the exact same thing. Why am I not doing this? Right? And
Right.
yeah, and that's kind of why you're here today. So because for those people that are watching and listening to this, Kat is going to kind of be my guinea pig today, a little bit, right? But also, I chose Kat for a very specific reason. I've had the pleasure of working for Kat, and the thing is, I've never been. Yeah, I can honestly say this. You've pushed me probably harder than just about anybody else I've ever worked for, and I mean that in like the best way, right? I really do because like you were like, I want this. No, I want this. No, I want this. No, I want this. No, I want this. Right. To the point at the very end, it's like we both were like, okay, this better fucking work.
Yeah.
Right.
I knew you could do it. That's why I pushed it, right? I wouldn't
Yeah.
do it with anybody else that I didn't think could do it, but I knew you could do it. So
Yeah.
I knew you were holding out on me because you were a little sure. And so I was like, nope, I'm gonna push them. And look what happened. Like you gave me a stellar video. It was wicked. I loved it. And my client loved it. So it was great.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like and I'm just getting advertisement on Discord. It's kind of fun, kind of cool, but
Nice.
that's that. Yeah. Yeah. No, it it was a good thing. So this is why oddly I picked you too, because you have a lot of experience. Actually, I should ask this. This is something I've always kind of wondered. Why did you get into marketing?
Well, when I first signed with my first publisher, 2009, it was part of my contract. I had to market myself, right? So, like at that time, I don't even think I had a Facebook page 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
my publisher was like, "Yeah, you need to have a Facebook page." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she mentored me and kind of helped me. And then I just like when my first book came out, I just wanted it to be everywhere. So I put in so much research into figuring out the formulas and how to be present without annoying people, because that's key, right? And so that's what really started me in it. And I just realized, like, as I progressed, that it all kind of is in the realm of writing, and I love to write. So that's how I got into marketing, right?
It's I had like this epiphany about, I'd say, a few months ago. It's essentially like marketing, when you get right down to it, is storytelling. And
Yes.
that's what it is. Like, it's storytelling and establishing connections. People
Yeah.
think sales is a dirty word for right. And really what sales actually is, it's human relationships and connection. Like when you really
Absolutely.
break it right down, that's
Yeah.
what it is. Right.
100% it is. I mean, and the businesses and the and what doesn't matter what business you have, if you're in the business of writing and you're an author, the ones that do the the best are the ones that are out there talking to their readers or talking to their consumers or their clients, right, and showing them that they actually care. And with social media and online marketing, like, you can touch everybody everywhere. So that was another reason why I got into it, because I'm an introvert, so I don't want to be in front of people's faces all the time, but I can hide behind my writing, in the way that I can create these things for my clients and for myself, still being, telling them who I am without putting my face in front of them and having conversations.
Yeah, except I almost don't believe I almost don't believe you're like
I think I saw you roll your eyes there, actually.
I no, I do understand it. Like there's I think I could definitely see you being shy or younger. I can totally see it because you're like, what do I do? How do I get there? What the fuck am I doing? Right? Right. There's definitely
Totally.
there's you're right. There's totally that moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, okay, there's just a point where you just say, fuck it, I'm going for it. Like there's
Yes.
just that point,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And I kind of feel you've never come back from that line. And I say that as a compliment because um you recognize something, like you've done something very a lot of authors would envy, in the sense that you're out there, you're constantly selling stuff, you're doing well at that, you're doing other things as well. I mean, right. But the thing is, you are a best-selling author, a well-known author in what you're into, and a lot of authors are, I would be envious, but again, you put the work in, you put yourself out there, and you realize that, you know what, I have to go for it like this every single time.
Yeah.
And I think there's once you get into that point, you still have your moments where you need your own space to recharge. But I also feel like I cannot, like, at this point in my life, you and shy do not seem to go together anymore. I could see that once upon a time, but I
Not
don't feel.
shy. I'm not shy. I like to, yeah, like you said, like, I like to be by myself, and it takes a lot for me to go in big crowds, like, I remember back, like, even recently, like, book signings to me just, well, we met at, When Words Collide, and I was, like, so nervous about that. Like, it took me weeks to hype myself up for that, to be in a setting with a bunch of people, because I'm just not used to that, right? And I mean, it was great and stuff, but the one thing that I've forced myself to do is teach, because I love to give back, and that really helped me come out of my comfort zone. And when you know what you're teaching, and you have a passion for it, you kind of, like, for me, I just threw that all that stuff out the window. I mean, not to say that I didn't make mistakes, and I still make mistakes, but now it's just different, right? Like, I could do podcasts all day long with you. I know you so well, like, we could just sit and bullshit, um, and stuff, right? Like, that to me is easy. And over the course of COVID and stuff, a lot of Zoom meetings were, so I'm pretty comfortable in front of the screen now. But yeah, it's still a thing to just go out and, meet new clients or, meet new readers. I love to do all of those things, but I definitely have to like build myself up and kind of give myself that, pep talk to prepare myself for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I could see that, but because I met you. So how we actually met, folks, was this. I ended up, I was doing a little like interview thing. You were my second interview, right? You were my second. I actually thought, like, I seriously had this in my head. I had met someone very similar to you, one of my sister's friends. I actually, when we met, I literally had you. I confused you half the time with her, right? Because it was
You
like,
even mentioned it in the
yeah,
interview.
yeah. It was just like because it was that we were chill. Like
Totally.
yeah, we were chill. Like I had Tracy Cooper Posey right before you. That's still one of my favorite interviews
Yeah.
ever because she walked in, she goes, "What are we gonna talk about?" And she goes, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out." And she got like these big wide-eyed, like, "Oh, what the fuck did I sign up for?" Right. And we had a really good conversation. So she was good. Then you came in, we had a really chill, like, and it was like we went from she went at the end. So how did you think? It's like, well, he didn't ask me the typical stuff. So I guess that's good. I enjoyed it. It's like, yeah. And we became friends. And then I met you. You were number two. And it was like, yeah, about like 30 minutes into the interview, I realized, oh, wait, this is not my sister's friend. Wait, what the like, literally, like, right.
Yeah.
30,
Yeah.
30 minutes. But like by that time we had started just talking about absolutely like everything. So it didn't really matter at this point. It's like, oh crap. I treated her like one of my friends, but she doesn't seem to mind that. So it's like it was good.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable, like just shooting the shit and just being real, right? That's who I am. I don't ever wanna come across as somebody that I'm not. That's a big fear of mine, and you see a lot of that online, right? So I really am conscious of making sure that when I post, like, it is me, so that when people meet me, they are like, "I kinda know who you are. You like whiskey. You kinda swear a little bit," right? Like, you're a little
Like I
bit
said,
right?
like
They get
when I
that
think introvert, I think shy. I just can't picture that with you, right? But no, so the other thing that like again, memory bells your current race, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah.
So you always go back into history. Why? Like what's the is it like a personal like connection to stuff, or was it just something bigger that drew you to history?
The Memory Bell is not a historical novel, it's
Yeah.
contemporary,
Yeah.
but, I just love research, like, honestly, like, if that like, I know a lot of authors are like, "You're crazy," but for me, that is, like, the best
So
part, is I love history, like, I love to research it. The other reason why I like history so much is because I like to take people away from the here and now a little bit, and I think that it's a little bit easier to do that when we go back, and we can kind of create a world that, we've never lived in, right? So we can fantasize about what it was like there. That's one of the other reasons why I enjoy writing history, but ultimately it is the research. Like I just learned so much, and I've always been into research. I always said, like, if I was never going to become a writer, I would become a historian because, like, all that information and, it's just, it really interests me.
you're just naturally a curious person.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
100% I am. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask a fun one then. How'd you stumble? Like because much like everything else, what I have found in life is most of us end up doing what we're supposed to do anyway. Sometimes we just don't consciously realize it, right? It's like for me, like 6 months into me being a freelancer, it's like, what's my
Mhm.
niche? What's the way I stand out? And all this while I've been doing this podcast, like, but like nonstop. It's like, wait, that's my niche. What am I doing? Right? It took that minute, like the subconscious click. But I
Yeah.
imagine for you, like your curiosity has always been there. You probably like the kid that you like your parents say, don't climb that tree, don't do this, don't do that, because and you're like,
I
well,
was
why
the one
not?
that was making up stories all the time, right? So, like, I was not adventurous in climbing trees because I was like a girly girl and I was always in a dress. But like I was always, if I went to the store or something, I'd always come home and I'd have this big long like story to tell my mom that was all a lie, right? Like, there was pirates, there was this or whatever, and oh, okay, right? Or like the one time that, I was never a swimmer ever. Like I just was used to be afraid of the water and I was little and I think I was like 6 and we were out at the lake. Like my family had a cabin out there and I remember my grandpa being like, "Oh, what'd you do today?" And I was like, "Well, I swam across the lake." Like it's just like right. Stopped in the
Your
middle at a
parents must
lake.
have had a hoot. Your parents must have had a hoot with you. It's like she's so full of shit, but
Yeah,
but it's entertaining shit. Like you
yeah,
were entertaining, so they were like they went with it, right?
yeah, they did. Yeah. They
Yeah,
just let me do my thing. Yeah. So that's basically, where it all kind of came from is just, yeah, I was always like, there's something else out there. And, I'll just create it in my mind. And that's kind of how I was when I was little. And then it just evolved from that to, I might as well create stories.
yeah. That's not
Yeah.
that's actually like that makes sense. Like you were always told stories,
Yeah.
and then one day you just clicked like this click. Was it a book? Was it a book you read? Was it a just a moment where you were just telling a story? You're like, hey, wait, I'm good at this stuff.
No, I never thought I was good at it ever.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to do it, but the one book that I read was like The Diary of Anne Frank. Like it was one of my favorite books. And even though like I just remember thinking like this little girl can write so like she is so articulate. Like like holy crap, like she can write. And I was just really taken away by it. And I think I read it when I was 13 or 14. And then I read Little Women and that run like just like I was like, okay, like this is cool stuff. And then it kind of just, I'd write these little short stories and stuff. And then as I got older, I freelanced and stuff, but I just never liked being told what to write. It's the Italian thing, I think. And, I always had like, I was like, no, I want to write it this way. And, you're not allowed, right? Like, here's your assignment, write it this way. And so I was like, I'm just going to go back to what I have this passion and this deep drive to do, which is to write a story. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like that pretty much fits. That pretty much fits you the whole way. I could just see it now. You're just like, I'm just doing it my way. Fuck it.
A big middle finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat Flannery, big middle finger. That'd be like a
Big middle
logo,
finger.
like the
Yeah,
giant logo. Maybe if you were in a rock band,
maybe.
that'd
I'd be a
that.
groupie though. Totally would have been a groupie back in the day.
I just came back from like my first heavy metal show in like 3 years. It was, oh man, I am not a young man anymore. I actually
No,
felt that
right?
stuff.
Oh, I used to love that. I love all music, but yeah, I know. Like what was it about 2, 3 years ago? My husband and I went to Slash and Miles Kennedy, and like just had a blast. But we felt it for like days after. Like,
So for me, it's at this point, it's not like I expect. Like I like the mosh pit. So for me, it's like I
mm,
expect the backs, the ribs, the neck. I expect that stuff. What I did not expect when I woke up on Sunday, I put my foot down, my left leg. I was like, "What? My knee? What the heck happened to my
oh,
knee? Back of my? There's the back of the knee. But what again? You accept the pain. If you're going in the pit, you know you're gonna take a beating. That's just the way it is.
yep.
But it's like one of those weird things. Like, what did I do to myself? Like one of those like weird little moments in your head. It's like, what happened there? Was it me jumping up and down? Did I
Did
take
I
a hit?
land wrong?
Yeah. Again, you're not mad exactly. You're just like, what did I do?
Mhm.
What the hell did I do?
Oh yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I was in a mosh pit once because I like used to love that stuff too. And I think what was I 16? And I was like, I'm gonna try this shit. Like I'm gonna do this. And I got a bloody nose. I was like, I'm out. Because I always had a rule. Like I was like, don't touch my face.
Yeah.
Right?
There is etiquette in a mosh pit. Like for
Yeah,
example, like if someone goes down, you help them up. Doesn't
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
like there's mosh and also moshing stops when someone's being crouch surfed above you. No one's gonna
that's
hit
right.
you, right? Like there's
That's
little
right.
things like that. No, I mean my hardest hit was a 120-pound soaking wet girl, but redhead girl, but probably like early mid-20s. She was doing jump and body checks in the middle of the
Oh
pit.
my gosh. Good for
Yeah.
her though. Good for
What?
her.
Yeah. No, she's just bumping into everybody. Like she's like I'm so my little secret skill in a mosh pit is I don't try to move up, but usually I end up in like the first 3 rows. Doesn't matter like where.
Yeah,
Like if I'm in the middle, that's like in the middle of that, you're still kind of fighting. But if you sit, but eventually you just move yourself a little bit to the side, then you don't
that's
fight
right.
quite as much. You still get little bumps and bruises here and there, but nothing major. First 2 acts, I was right in the middle of it. So I don't try to move. No one's moving me. I don't care who you are. You're not moving my ass. That's pretty much
Yeah,
my whole thing. But but at the same time, I'm not necessarily trying to move up either. But sometimes what tends to happen in these pits is that there's these moments where there's a parting, and then everybody just
oh,
you can move
right,
up, right? That's because again, it's just one of those things. You go with the flow long enough, the opportunity presents itself, and you can just go forward if you want, right? So it's just like one of those. It's one of those like little moments. So it was fun. I got some good therapy out of it, and then it was like the next day, the next phase was like I woke up. It's like I'm sore, but I expected that. But the next
yeah,
day, the day after, Sunday, my knee. What the
oh,
hell? Right?
geez, man. I know, but whatever, right? You
Yeah,
loved it. Take
yeah.
the
I did.
bumps. Yep.
Yeah, take my bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask this, and then we'll get into just a little bit more about your current books and that. I mean, I don't foresee another lockdown anytime soon. At this point, I think we're done that stuff finally. So, what are you most excited about, like going out into the world again? Are you looking forward to it? Does it still kind of freak you out? Like, where do you kind of see it?
Not freaked out at all. I'm
Yep.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Just going out and like hanging with people, like my
Mm,
family and like my friends, you know what I mean? Just being not having that cloud hang over you anymore, right?
yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I still can't travel to the States just yet, but that is
Yeah.
something on my list to do. Well, I technically can. I have a back door. Most people don't, is that I'm a dual
Yeah.
citizen.
So am
But like,
I.
yeah. So yeah, top five. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you born in the States?
Yeah, I was born in Florida.
You're born in Florida. Okay, my dad was born in Detroit. I'm an
Okay.
American. I fall under the classification of American born abroad.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so even though I was not born in the country, I'm considered it because I was born before 1985. Grandfather clauses, they rule, right? But
Totally.
yeah, they grandfather clauses. So yes, so it's I got my citizenship. I have to renew my passport at some point. I mean, it's about 5 years out of date, but it's okay. With everything that kind of happened, I was like, I'll wait until it's over to get it
Yeah,
going.
exactly, right? Don't wanna
Yeah.
and hopefully over the next course, like, things will start to kind of fizzle out and
I
everybody
think
will go back.
I think by 2023, like I do think we have another. We still have a weird like rest of year. It's still going to be a little weird, but
Mhm.
I do think there's going to be a gravitation towards some kind of normalcy as it progresses. Now we got other bullshit we're going to have to deal with, but I do think that I do think that the lockdown aspect of it is probably done at this point. I don't see it going back, short of people dropping dead. Right, that's the only way I see it. I see us going back
Yeah,
in the lockdown at this
yeah,
point.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I hope not both ways, right? I just
yeah,
yeah, you know?
yeah. I know. Yeah, at some point you got to go on living, right? We
Mhm,
all have to go on living. So
that's right.
anyway,
Exactly.
so okay, so you started marketing for that. So what's your favorite? Okay, so obviously you're doing storytelling and stuff, but I also know this, ladies and gentlemen, too. She is a world class designer in her own right, and also a very quick problem solver. We so here's like I'll give you like my personal example with her. We had it. They wanted the first I think 3 seconds animated, so we basically crash coursed how to animate stuff that night. We figured it
We
out.
did,
We
we
did.
did. Yep.
And what I'm going to charge for that for the foreseeable future is ridiculous. I understand now why animation studios charge so much.
It was
Holy,
nuts. It was
yeah,
nuts, but we did it. We did it.
yes. But I guess the thing is, like, much like you started obviously with probably copy, and then it evolved into what you evolved it into. Um, So I guess again, you love systems. I can kind of see like your curiosity would probably push you into other realms as well. But my question is, in the marketing end of things, is there anything at this point you're uncomfortable with, or you're still learning, or is there like a favorite part to it, like in terms of necessarily the concepts, like the tools you use, like
Well, like, I think that in any industry, if you don't go in the mindset that you know it all, like, you're always learning, and that's my
Mhm,
mindset, right? I'm always learning. The one thing that I always am, and I'm always upfront with my clients, is if I don't know, I'll find out.
mhm.
That's the way I work, right? So, like, if I don't know the answer, I will find out if it takes me all night, like we did that night, right? Like,
Oh god,
right?
yes.
Yeah, you know?
That last
I
3
will
seconds
find
was longer
out.
than the rest of the project. That last 3
Exactly.
seconds.
Yeah, it was, right? I mean, the rest of it was easy peasy, but I mean, I think in the industry of marketing, like things are changing all the time, especially digital marketing, right? Like
Mhm,
it is a constant change. You have your social platforms that change like by the day. Everybody knows that. So by
mhm.
keeping up to those things and what's going on, it's just if when you're in the industry, if you have to. But for me, I mean, I'm always up for a challenge, right? Like, when I see a new platform and I'm like, this is interesting, I'm always thinking about my clients and I'm always thinking about like, okay, how would this work for them? Is this good for them? Is this good for me? Like those types of things. Can I do it? And can I do it well? And if I can't do it well, I'm not going to bring it up till I know I can do it well.
Yes. No, that's fair. That's fair, and it's actually really good advice too, because like I said, with I'm about to dabble into this myself a little bit.
Mhm.
We'll say dabble at the moment because I'm not 100% sure it's going. I get the feeling this is going to work out for me. I kind of get that feeling, but I also get the feeling like there's going to be some learning curve for me, and then because there is with everything, and it's actually I think the best attitude
Absolutely.
is to always be curious. Huh.
Yes.
I think I figured out how I think I got cool angle with you. Then I think about it. I think I have a cool angle with you. So we'll keep going a little bit here. You're so at this point, like obviously, it's been a little while since your last book. Not like I guess it depends on your point of view. I'm going to ask this, like in terms of publishing today, right? Do you worry about how fast to release a book? Do you worry about because there's a lot of different like publishing avenues, and the big thing about today is speed is
Yep.
now ridiculous, like
Yep.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
To such a point, like this would be a topic for another day. I kind of see the way the traditional publishing model, like for the really high end, is. I I'm going to be honest. I don't see it sticking around as it is for much longer because it just cannot compete with the
Mhm.
rapid
Right.
different ways. I think small publishers have a good chance of making it through just because they are small and can maneuver and can pivot. Big publishers, I'm not so sure about. I think the speed is definitely like Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter. Like, why would he go to Kickstarter if like why? Although I mean that's the big question, right? But again, you have Kickstarter, you have Unbound, you have
There's so
small
many.
publishers. There's
There's
so
so
many
many. Yep, there's
options.
so many. There is, and I mean, I think too, like, within the industry, when I first started, I was like, "Okay, like, I gotta have a book out a year, like, I gotta have I think one year I did 2, and, like, it's a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure. I mean, I like pressure, but I don't like giving my readers shit.
Mhm.
So, that's very important to me, and the way that my mind works is like I get an idea for a book and then it like mulls and processes and sometimes it's like right away and sometimes it's not. And I just refuse to write something that I'm not going to read.
Mhm.
And it's very
And
important to me, right? So my last book came out in 2021, so almost a year ago, and I have, a few things going, but
mhm.
I'm not on anything like, I'm sure my publisher would love it if I would say, "Hey, I have another book." But for me, I also feel that my readers deserve to have a good story. And if it takes me 2 years to write that story, it takes me 2 years to write that story. I don't think that you should be waiting 10 years if you want to have a career in as an author. You definitely need to, be diligent and have books out more consistently. But I also feel that, that is just my thing. And I mean, you also have to go like me as an author, we always beat ourselves up over like what success is,
Yes.
how we're successful and what makes us successful. And those are really important things um, in an author's life. And for me, it really drove me for the first probably 7 years of my career until I realized that success to me is what I want it to be, not what
Yeah.
anybody tells me it is, right?
No, I had a conversation with a person named Natasha Rolfe earlier in like right before the end of the year last year. And I really like what success publishing today is really about is what serves you, the
Exactly.
person. That's it.
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
nothing else. I don't think I think again, you're with your publisher, I'm sure is a great publisher. And
Mhm.
to me, anything I've said about it, there's definitely going to be a place for publishers well into the future too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, there's definitely going to be a place. I do think the big, the big ivory tower that is the big four right now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I do. There's definitely going to be new publishers. I think publishers' roles are going to evolve, but there's always going to be
Totally.
publishers. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Totally.
Yeah, right. My thing is like but I realize this too. Success looks very different for all of us. Even a
Yes.
specific book project. Like for example, you're a romance author, you may not want to do a traditional route. You might want to do indie because indie you can again that is about speed and
Yeah.
you can do the distance, right? If you got a young adult science fiction book, but you also want to do a video game with it, maybe crowdfunding is the right way to go with it, right? And not just every project, but you too. Like, what do you want to do? Where are you comfortable? And healthily comfortable, and
Mhm.
maybe where you're a little healthily uncomfortable, so you can
That's
keep
right.
going, right?
And it's
That's
okay
it.
to be uncomfortable too, right? Like, I think that you need to be uncomfortable in your career because it pushes you, right?
Mhm.
I think that's really important. And yeah, like, I mean, I have authors ask me all the time, like, "What's it like to be successful?" And in my mind, honestly, like, success was like the first time I actually got a book published or I
Mhm.
wrote a book, right?
Yeah.
So that's a really big lesson that I try to talk to them or just even talk to them, be their ear sometimes to say like, success isn't about what everybody else is doing. It's about what you're doing and how far you've come from
Mhm.
the beginning of whatever, right? And are you happy, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
No, it's the only thing at the end of the
Yep.
day. Like my book, my Alice Zero book got nominated for an award last year. I'm gonna be blunt. This is gonna sound like really pretentious. I don't care. Not because I'm
Because
not
that's
flat.
what garners your success in your mind, right?
No, it
Right.
doesn't. No, at this particular point in like at this particular point in time, my success is the number of people listening to my podcast, the number of people watching this show,
Right.
um, the number of people that are going out there and buying my books and saying I like your stuff or reviewing my books. That is
I
far
agree.
more important to me. Now, I'm not saying I'm not flattered, right? I would be lying,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Honored.
But yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, but I also it's not why I'm here,
No.
right? It's not why I'm here. I'm here to tell the best story I can and do the best work I can, whatever I choose to do, and that is very much that's very much like the goal, the thing,
Mhm.
the drive, the that's what makes me happy because I don't know what else really is there at the end of the day. Yeah, awards are great, but they're not they are for me, they are
Mhm.
tools to help me market my books further.
Yes.
That's it.
That's
That's
right.
it.
That's
That's
right.
it.
They
That's
are.
it.
But so are reviews, right?
Mhm.
And you know what? I'll take your review any day before I would take an award,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's cool, and I say this with a
No,
little bit right, it's not cool.
absolutely not. And it doesn't mean that, you're not honored or humbled and it's great. But yeah, like to get a review from people reading your book, I mean, that's who you're writing for,
Yeah, exactly. That's
right?
that's it. You're trying to find an audience, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like what good is a story if no one reads it? Like
That's right.
that's the yeah.
Exactly, exactly. You
Yeah.
can have 100 awards sitting on your table, but if nobody reads your book, it doesn't matter. I mean, mind you, if you have 100 awards, I'm sure lots of people are reading your books, but
Or at least you have one really you have a really core group of super fans. That's
yeah,
awesome, right?
yeah,
But
that's
I
right.
mean, and but they're not they're not quite the super fans you're hoping for because if they're giving you an award, I'm like, that's great. Can you just tell people about my stuff because that's even
Yeah,
better
that's right.
because that's
Exactly,
the best one. Yeah, that's the best form of
exactly.
marketing.
That's the best compliment too, right? Is
Yeah,
somebody referring you or referring your book. It's the best compliment ever.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're going
Yep.
for.
Yep.
So, hmm, I would ask a fun question then. This will be a fun one. Because again, you like research, like you like research, like figuring out how the world works. I'm almost shocked you haven't written like that epic fantasy novel. I'm almost shocked. Is that
I
so-
did write well, I have a paranormal kind of
yeah,
fantasy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You have a paranormal, but
Yep.
I'm thinking in terms of like the Brandon. Like again, some of you with like a fascination with systems and stuff like that, right? I could just see it. I could see it, right? I could totally see, like, you'll have, like, this book 1 of 12 epic series, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?"
No. No, no. Oh my gosh, no, not series. I would no, no, done. I've
Yeah.
done
I
trilogy.
won't I won't curse you with it. I won't curse you
No.
because the yeah. No, because then she'll find me. I'm in Alberta now. I'm not that far away from her
I know
anymore.
where
She'll
you
find
are.
me. Yeah. You too.
See his face.
It's like, "Ah!" A little bit of fear, a little bit of fear. Hey, respect, but also I know what you're capable of, so I have to respect you. So, but no, it's just like I said with you, it's just it's almost shocking. Like I said, historical makes sense, paranormal makes sense, romance, yeah, I could see it makes sense for you too. Is there anything you haven't tried that you wanted to, or are you just happy with everywhere you've been?
Well, I think there's always somewhere. I mean,
Yeah,
right? Like, so The Memory Bell was contemporary, thriller, I guess, or suspense, which I've never done. Never wrote contemporary before. And it really kind of threw me off because I was like, holy shit. Like now I gotta write about like the here and now. I can write historical all day long, but it was different. It was fun, really fun to write it. I would like to write more of those. I don't know, like, you know, when it comes to me, I'll just, like I like to be pushed out of my element. So right now I'm pretty content, I would
right
say.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Right,
know
right
why I
now.
can just see it like thunderclouds with hands. Like, what could I do now that I haven't
Yeah,
done before?
right? Like, I mean, the thing is because I mean, nowadays, like with publishing, like you can cross genre all day long. I mean, you couldn't
Yeah,
do it 20 years ago, right? Like it just didn't happen. And now you can, um, which is great. So I'm all for cross genre. Like I'm
oh,
all
no, no, I totally am too. Like, I'm doing, I'm drawing my first book. I never thought I'd
oh,
be doing that.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I'm doing an homage to Fahrenheit 451, kinda, sort of, and except instead of learning to read, he's starting to draw. So I was like, I am how do I put this? I'm almost competent. We'll leave like, though I'm almost competent. I've spent the last year and a bit drawing with some of like people that have drawn for Warner Brothers, people that have drawn for Game of Thrones, people that have drawn for
I've
like
seen some of your episodes when you've had the drawers on. Yeah, I've watched them.
yeah, they're
Crazy.
really good. It's like, why
They
am I here?
are.
There's a little bit of that why am I here thing, but when you see people that good, like you cannot help but be in awe of them.
No,
Um,
totally. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I realized something very important too is it's not always about being good at something either. It's about doing the experience of doing it because
Yeah.
going back to like into your toolbox, let's say you decide I am not cursing you just so you get this. I'm not cursing you. Let's say you decide you try out just for shits, try a hard science fiction. Now you probably I'm not saying you would do that. I don't really feel that's quite where you're at. But let's just say for the sake of argument, even if it's just a short story, just for the sake of argument, right? Now, it might be again, it's not you. I get the feeling. I get the feeling that it wouldn't be quite it wouldn't be to your standards. But you could take that, what you learned from that, and then go back to where you're more
Yeah,
comfortable. And
totally.
suddenly you have a tool that you would not have had in your toolbox before. To be like,
Exactly.
right. And that's this thing, right? Like when I am drawing, it kind of helped me with like it helped me with writing a little bit because
Mhm.
what tended to happen was I would see a story in a completely different light and that I would not have seen any other way because now I can draw pictures. And now also
Right.
when I do comics now, I also have a lot more respect for the person drawing them for me. Hey, can you do
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Right?
for
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
I've seen like, who did you have on? I can't remember who it was, but the drawing was phenomenal, and I was like, "Holy!" Wow. So can I ask you a question? What made you
Sure.
decide to draw your book?
Because I am the right person for the book. The idea, and that might sound like a weird answer, but here's the thing. Okay, so in my own personal head, I love novels, but I've always loved comics too.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
I've always loved comics too. I'm a big comic. If you saw my room right now, there's like a shelf where all the comics I bought in the last year. It's growing. It's like a giant, like Ninja Turtles, Green Lantern, like all kinds of
Nice.
stuff. Right? That's my hobby. But I've always, and I did a comic book a long, long time ago as a writer.
Okay. That was gonna be
Right?
my next
But
question,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah.
done it as a writer. I did that a long, long, long time ago.
Okay.
And with a guy that actually does draws for Dynamite Books, I know good talent when I see it. I do. That is a really good thing. I'm good at noticing. But what ended up happening was it's hard to put together get a crew, especially when you've gone through the ups and downs I've had financially, or it's like it's hard to finish a project.
Right.
And I also realized, so that was part of it. But the other part of it is, I mean, so I have this philosophy: fear is a door.
Mhm.
So I was terrified of looking bad for a very long time. I believed I convinced myself that I couldn't draw, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be terrible. And then I bought, like, my sister bought me a drawing book right when the pandemic out was, as a gift. She bought me a book, a drawing book, and I didn't touch it till November. And so it took me 6 months. Like, what if this is terrible? And then I had this wonderful thought. So what if it's terrible? Just have fun. And that has been my approach ever since. So when I'm on the show with Bill Maher, or who does Naira X, or Mark Park, who might be the person you had, like, well, there's like 5 people that could be like super epically good drawings with on my show, because they've all been incredible. Right. Or Anvu, who I'm hoping to work with a little bit later this year. Actually, she's probably going to. So, did you ever see Darwin Cook's Parker novels?
No.
Look them up. I'm going to be doing something like that's going to be my 8th book release, is something in that style, and An's going to draw it because An's awesome.
Cool.
But so I made the decision. So to answer your question, for me, it's the most uncomfortable thing I could possibly do with myself. So ergo, I have to do it. It's not, fear's the door. Whatever you truly want, I truly believe you got to be a little bit afraid of it,
Yeah.
because that
Agreed.
means you give it that means you give a shit. That means
Agreed.
you ultimately do. So I say that like that because, like, I have 9 rules to success. The 9th rule came as a result of the pandemic, but the 8th rule is stay uncomfortable. Because if you don't push yourself unless you are uncomfortable. Going back to something you said earlier. So the most uncomfortable thing I could do is do actual illustrations inside my own book and design it. And maybe one day I end up doing a comic book as a result of this somewhere down. I could totally see myself doing it. Then again, maybe I'm just writing the book. It's still possible I'm only just writing the books, but it also gets me closer to understanding what happens there, and I can work with people. But also, since I can draw them, right?
Yeah.
I can also come up with something else that's my own unique style. And that's the other thing too. You don't have to be good to come up with a style that tells a story. You just have to be something that people can understand. Once you have that, you can do
The
anything.
world. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You got the world. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's
Okay.
that,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That does that answer your wonderful
It does
question?
answer my question. Yes,
Yeah.
it does. And I'm not surprised because, yeah, I'm not. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, when it's done, I'm hoping, like I said, June. I got a lot. Again, I have to get some of my other shit figured out first. But once that's it's figured out, but I'm ready to do that too. It like I have learned an awful lot as a freelancer in the last 2 years. Actually, that's good fun. That's a fun one for you. Because again, where I think both of us are a lot alike is I don't see either of us. I could see us working for somebody if we really want to do the project.
Yeah.
But if we don't, neither of us are going to stick.
We're like,
no. If we don't, nope.
That's cute. Yeah, I agree. If we're
Yeah,
passionate about it, we would do it.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I just see, like, again, you're kind of a free spirit. So when was your like again, the freelance mentality kind of for me was very much when my first 6 months, what if I fuck this up? Like that was the biggest, like the first 6 months. And then of course, because I had that in my head, I fucked it up.
Right.
Right. Because I fucked it up. You have to go in all in on this. You have to kind of believe in yourself. That doesn't mean you don't adjust and readjust accordingly. But if you're going down this path, you're going down this path.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So shy cat or introvert cat in 2009 probably has some of those same thoughts way back in the day because it's a natural thing when you go into the unknown.
Yeah.
When did you break it? There had to be a moment when you realized that like you weren't thinking like this anymore.
It was probably I would have to say, like, after my brother passed away, I kind of was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna I'm gonna work really hard and I'm gonna do this. And I put all of that to the back of my head. And I thought, you know what, you only live once. And that was my motto, basically. Was I only, that was it.
That was it. And then you
That
never
was
looked
it.
back.
Nope.
And that's when you probably started seeing more success too.
Yes. Yes, it was 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That moment.
When you let go of it and you just release it and you stop being in your own head.
Yes.
That's the key, right? Stop being in your own head. I mean, it's good to be in your own head, but when you're in your own head too much, you will be the failure of your own success. Like you will not be successful if you're in your head too much. It just won't happen, right? But if you get out of your head a little bit and you believe in yourself just a little bit, there's so much that you can do, right? There's so much that you can do.
Absolutely. Like so my ninth rule, the rule I learned from the pandemic is this: never fall in love with an outcome. And it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
yeah.
It's a tricky one because it almost sounds like you're negatively talking yourself down, right? Because sometimes because
right. Don't get too excited, right?
Well, it's not that. It's just you recognize, like, again, just one of those recognitions in life. An idea can be wrong.
Yes.
An approach can be wrong.
Yes.
Right? All this stuff can be wrong. You can make all these mistakes. And you can still, however, succeed, right? You can still right, or you can still fail. But the thing is, you can't be so in love with an idea that's all you see.
That's right.
Right? Because if that's all you see, and that is probably the biggest lesson I learned from the pandemic is no matter depending on which side of the fence you are, you only saw it one way or the other for a lot of people. And it was like, well, that's not how the world works. And not going to go into great, wonderful details because that's not necessary. But it's a stark reminder is if you buy into an idea too much, it burns you. You can't you have to have a certain detachment of, okay, this is what I think will work.
Yes.
But I'm not 100% sure it's going to work.
No.
So I'm not going to pretend whatever anyone tells me that it's going to work. I'm going to accept the possibility that this won't work. Now, I'm not talking myself into failure when I say that.
No.
Right. I think that's a very, but it's a very astute thing. It's not right because it's just once you realize that, it's like, okay, so if something goes south, it doesn't hit you as hard. If something goes really high, I mean, you still got that yes moment, right?
Exactly. And I mean, in the industry, really, Josh, like nothing's a guarantee, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you understand that, but then even if you fail, like you said, you're not as upset, but you still have that drive to figure it out.
Yes.
You're still going to look to figure it out, to find another way. There's always another way, no matter what, right?
Absolutely. And then there's always, and you got to find what works best for you too. And that's at the end of the day, that is the ultimate.
It's very important. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because everybody has their own way of doing things. Everybody.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's just it. Like my dog is being a complete jerk right now. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm just telling you. For everybody watching, they can hear him.
It's okay. You're secretly a supervillain. You're stroking your dog. Excellent. Like you can just do that.
I am, right? He's a gangster. His name is
Yeah.
Vince. But anyway, yeah. I mean, in the industry, like in the marketing industry, that's like the norm, right? Where we're going to try this, we're not sure it's going to work, right?
Mhm.
So let's go for it. And if it doesn't work, let's find another way. And
Mhm.
sometimes it works. And like we were talking earlier with your podcast, right? Sometimes it works and you're like, I don't know I don't know. It was a hit. I have no idea. Right. And then you go to try it again and it doesn't work. Right. So you got to find a new way. And that happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right. But it just, A, you learn a lot. And B, you understand that not everything is going to hit. Not everything's going to hit.
No. And that's it's possible to do everything right and it still won't work. It's possible.
Exactly.
And you have to accept that. And to do that, I mean, it's very much that might be the hardest thing to accept. But if you can do that, and that's not just true with writing or marketing or podcasting or any point, it's everything.
Yeah, it is.
Everything.
Yeah,
sure things for some people just aren't for you, right? Right? They're just not sometimes, right? This is a sure thing. You can't fuck this up. Nope.
We fucked it up.
Watch me. Hold my beer. It's going to happen. And then sometimes you're going to be like, this doesn't work for anybody. And then you're like, how did you make $1 million doing this? And you're like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's true. It's true, right? Like sometimes things really work well. And then, like I said, you go to try it again and it shits the bed and you're like, what happened? Who knows?
You can't figure it out.
Right? You can't figure it out.
You can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And for those folks watching and listening, like I said, my podcast, it's got kind of hit some really good numbers and like really, really good numbers.
Really good numbers.
Yeah. But I'm not sure why exactly. I can guess kind of what happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure exactly how that happened. Exactly. Yeah. Right. I'm not sure how. So it's like, cool. Right.
Yeah.
It's right. And I'm still hitting everywhere else I'm normally hit, but it's just like, right.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's great. And you may find out why eventually, like you may find out why and you may want to recreate that. Or you may not find out why and just ride the wave.
Yeah, that's totally how it goes, right? That's totally the hi Vince. Hey, listen. We are in the Zoom era. This is a live show. It's gonna be like I've had like, I think my favorite episode. I had an author. He had his baby on his lap for an hour. It was sweet. It was a sweet episode. It was a really, really sweet one. But at the same time, it was like we cut it short because it was like, yeah, my baby has to poop, and he's his diaper change. I've been waiting for 20 minutes because it's like, okay, you a tougher man than me.
Yeah.
Right. Hey Wayne, how you doing? But like I said, in terms of the show, in terms of just success, but I mean, I have to give you credit for something else too. I have seen success cripple people more than failure has.
Yes.
Right.
Totally.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I'm doing good, Wayne. I'm doing good. Right. I'm doing good, buddy. We're trying something kind of fun here. So I'll be back and I'll respond to you off and on here. But the big question I think is when you saw success, quote unquote, it's like probably like me, you woke up one day and you looked and you're like, oh shit, people are buying my books. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. How did you deal with your imposter?
I think it was always there. I mean, it's still there.
Well, sure.
It comes and goes, right? Like even, and again, going like it's with everything. It's with me being an author. It's with me being a business owner. Shit, I write like marketing content all day long and I'm my own imposter. I'm like, this sucks. This is horrible, whatever. Right. But then, you kind of just, you have to know, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know this is good or whatever. Right. And you work through it. I mean, with my books, I think are different. It's a little bit more personal to me, even though it's not personal, but it's a little bit different because when I market for clients, I'm marketing their business to the best of my ability. When I am marketing myself, I'm marketing myself. right? I'm putting
Yes.
myself out there. So yeah, I mean, my imposter comes and, she's just a little bitch, but she, I just can't kick her in the ass once in a while. But it's expected, right? And you just
Hmm.
push it away. I mean, and sometimes, look, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I let her stay a little longer than she's welcome.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first, like I mentioned, awards not mattering. Oh, they did once, like the first time I was nominated was for an Aurora, and it was weird because I was gonna actually, like, I was at the point, I was like episode 150. Look how far we've come since that point in time. It's like I don't know if I really want to keep going with the podcast.
Right.
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 That was my thing. Right. So then the next, like literally, like when I had that in my head, I then emailed the next day, "Dear Aurora Award." Like, wait, what? Is this a joke? Right? Is someone
What?
scamming me here? Right?
That's awesome.
Because I didn't do anything to nominate myself or anything. Like someone put my name in, which is awesome, which is a compliment in of itself. And I know who
Right.
did it. Right. Right. But I had that, like there was like for a couple weeks there, I was really like, whoa, like this is big, this is huge, this is like what it is. And I asked myself, so I what I ended up doing was I asked myself three very important questions. How did I get here? My big
Yeah.
mouth is the answer to that question. Right. Two, what do I do well that people can't ignore? And three, what could get in my way?
Mm-hmm.
And this feeling could get in my way.
Mm-hmm.
And what causes this feeling. And it's, I think, like for me, it was just a really brutally honest gut check of who I am and who I'm not.
That's
Right.
right. That's right. Yeah.
And I always try to keep that. Now I am pretty sure as things kind of continue to grow, me and my ego are going to have like a wonderful conversation here and there, because that could, like, again, it's something I recognize about myself. That could be my undoing, because I do have an ego, and it's not, let's say, necessarily the biggest ego, but it's definitely there. And I took Jonas Saul's best advice. He goes, "Listen, never stroke your ego in public." And he's like, "That is really, really good advice," and it's something
He's
I'm going to
100% right.
Yeah,
100%.
no, he's absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
I always like the saying, there's no room for ego in this business. There isn't, right? You can go home and you can pat yourself on the back and you can be like, I did good. But he's right. There isn't. There
yeah.
isn't. I mean, at the end of the day, right? We all came from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, an ego can be healthy in small dosages. Like for example,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's what drives your price. It's totally what
Well,
drives your price.
confidence. Don't
Yes.
mistake confidence for ego either, right? Like, so, right? You can be confident without being,
Oh
egotistical.
no, absolutely. But I think that little part of ego, that goes, "You're worth more." Sometimes that's not that's confidence, yes. That is a little bit of your ego, and
Yes.
that I don't think that part, like again, using that part to get you a better deal to work with somebody sometimes is a bad thing. Now,
Absolutely.
it's right. It's when you
Yeah.
get to the point, it's like, my shit is amazing. It's
No,
poker.
you can
That's
never
when your
get
ego
there.
gets, yeah,
You need the reality check then, because there's
yeah,
always somebody better, like my mother used to say. There's always somebody
yes,
better. There will always be. And I think that the most important thing, you can have confidence. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that there always needs to be honesty,
hmm,
right? Always. And I think that if you in business are honest with yourself and you're honest with your readers or your clients or whoever, um, if you can't do something or you effed up and you own it. And I think that's really important,
oh yeah,
right?
no,
But when you come to the point in your career and you think that you're the shit, then I think you need a reality check, because I do feel that, and we all have been there. Everybody gets there at one point in their career. You need to stop yourself, because I've been, and I'm not like, just on social media or whatever, like it will ruin your career. It'll ruin your career in a yep,
yeah, absolutely.
yep,
No, there's
yeah.
there's a point where ego is tolerated, and
Yep.
that's when you're at your apex. But there comes a point when that very ego can destroy you, especially when you're on the way down, because we're not always at the forefront, right? We're just not, and it's
Yeah.
just the way life works, right?
Yeah.
So how you treat people is going to
It's
count.
100%, and it's a reflection of you. And I'm very, very, very adamant with myself, and I really try to discipline myself with that, because no matter where you are, you were there too. I was there once, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm marketing for a business or I'm marketing myself or I'm mentoring an author. I'm always thinking of them first,
Mm-hmm.
right? Always thinking of them first, and that's very important to me. And yeah, you got to be, you can be confident, absolutely, but you also have to be humble, and you have to remember where you came from.
Yeah, humility is
It's key.
This is
It's you have to. If you
Yeah,
forget
absolutely.
that, pack your shit up and go home.
Yes. No, it's weird because we live in a world where you have to make a certain degree of noise,
Yep.
right? You
Yeah.
have to. So you
Yeah.
have to some degree, you have to buy your own hype to a degree. But you gotta be realistic. You still gotta remember, on some level, it's still bullshit a little bit, all right? Because because I'm not, what I mean by that is it's hype. You're still, like you said, as you pointed out. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Vince. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I have to pick him up because he's just being an asshole. Look at this stuff.
See. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. He knows you're busy. So
I
guess
know.
what?
Like a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids do this all. So again, you want the ultimate humble pie. Like for me, my most popular episode this year, last year.
Yeah.
Author, we were held hostage by her 3-year-old for the whole podcast. I'm not kidding. We were held hostage. This 3-year-old kept coming in. Oh, it was sweet. It was totally sweet.
That's
it's one of the
cute.
It was my most popular episode last year. Well, it isn't even close, right? It's just
Aww.
and that's the thing. Great quality content.
But real, man. We're real people.
That's right. No, it's like, no, number one thing, the 3-year-old kid holding both of us hostage.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's great.
That is awesome.
And if that does not make you realize where you stand in the universe, nothing else.
Right?
Will.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
Like this dog, damn it. Vinny.
This dog is like owning. I might clip this just so you know, just because it's just, I think it's, although I don't know, it's not exactly the perfect marketing tool, I do think it's hilarious. So, right?
Oh, Vince.
Yeah, Vince 1, Cat 0.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's a stage 5 clinger. I have another Frenchie, his name's Marty, and he's like sleeping on the floor right now. Not this guy. He's a gangster.
He's the gangster?
Yeah. I named him. You know when you say like you should name people, like watch what you name them? This guy right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a cat. I'm a cat person just because they're just a little moving around as much as I have. I could not do that to a dog. A dog would suffer tremendously.
Cats are more resilient, eh? Like they're just do this shit. Yep.
Even so, I'm careful about this with cats too. Cats can do it longer, but there's a point where even the cats are like, "Fuck you, I'm done."
Yeah.
Right.
I'm out.
Yeah. No, it happens.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I moved around an awful lot. But my last cat I still remember, he had giant freaking claws. The name was Saber. That was his name. He was the biggest troublemaking shit I've ever had as a cat, but he was also like the most skilled hunter I'd ever seen. Like, so one night we wake up. This is when I was a teenager. I was a teenager. I wake up, and we wake up, and there's this. So we had these bat problems. This bat would come in sometimes, and we'd rush her at the door. So one of these times, my cat is taking leaps at this thing, going for it, right? So we get the cat out. So one night we go to bed. Next day we wake up. Bat is on the ground. It's already started to be chewed up a little bit. The cat had caught him, but it was right. That's right. So True story, right? It's just like one of those things. Like you wake up, well, and what are you gonna? You're not gonna punish. You're not gonna punish
No,
an animal for their nature,
no,
right?
you
So
can't.
you
No,
can't. No, you can't. So yeah. So my cat legitimately, like with his giant ass claws, was able to kill like just a
right
catch
down the
it back,
back. Wow,
took it down the
crazy.
back. Yeah,
That's
like
crazy.
yeah. So just he just had it in him. Like he just had it in him. Like
Yep.
first night we went outside, he came back with a bird. Like he just like natural hunter, right? Natural hunter. So
Jeez.
yeah. So I remember that very much. Suck. He was a big suck too. He could be a spoiled brat, but yeah, he was yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas this guy here is also a big suck and a spoiled
He
brat.
is. He's a stage 5 clinger too, and he doesn't understand personal space. That's his MO.
Yep.
Like,
So coming to the house. So again, easy to make friends with. Just give him a little food and he'll cling to you
mhm.
for life. It's like
Have
I
a look
heart
at
you
you.
so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lick your
Yeah,
face. Right, Vince? Mhm.
yeah. Fair enough. Well, we haven't. Yeah, I was hoping to talk a little bit more of the memory bell about you, but I think just the way the conversation went, like we ended up talking about.
All good.
Yeah, it's all good. I actually so just on a personal note, I think I could do a better job with this conversation with your business stuff better than I think your book because
Sure.
just where we talked about it. So for folks watching and listening, this has been this conversation is a little bit of an experiment too. You'll see in the next few days. If you are on my newsletter, I've hinted at this. So I said this in my newsletter. This is I will look for probably the person that would push me the most for being my first client. That is Miss Kat Flannery right here, folks. She is a writer, best-selling author. She is a marketer. She is a teacher, right? Okay, that's a good final question because you mentioned mentoring and teaching.
Yeah.
So, of all the things you do, I get the feeling that writing is your big thing, right?
Yeah.
But it was your big passion. But I also get the feeling that at this kind of point in your career, you enjoy giving back a
Yeah.
lot.
I've
Yes.
always liked giving back. I didn't do it in the beginning because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I
Yeah.
was like afraid that I would tell somebody something that, talking out my ass. But yeah, I absolutely love to. I love to teach. I love to mentor authors. And I love like even if it's teaching social media marketing or marketing classes to businesses, like I just love to do that because I just do. I mean, it's fun to me, you know, and with authors especially because I love seeing them like at the beginning and then at the end and how far they've come. It's so exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always, I think authors, I think the one thing I'm going to enjoy about doing this, right? I don't know. I have to worry about this with you quite so much. Like, I think you have a pretty healthy grasp of who you are. I've learned this doing this podcast. Everybody that's been on this show is usually like incredible of some amazing things and they don't know it. It's like you do these incredible badass things and you don't even realize it. Right. Right. And it's a great story to tell. Right. And in your case, it is in one sense, it's harder with you because you know it. Right. I don't like not in like an ego sense, like you just know what you know what you give to people. I think you have a lot more, you're probably one of the more deliberate people I know in the sense that you have a clear idea of who you are, what you want, and you know what you are willing to give people,
Mhm.
right? Which makes it really hard to surprise someone like you because you're like, I know this crap already, right? Right. Or more
Yeah, but you
like,
can do it. Oh,
yeah,
you'll do it.
I think so. I think
I
I
know
have an
you will.
idea.
I know you
Yeah,
will.
yeah. I think so. I do think so. But that's the thing. That's that I think for like but again, that's the thing, right? You know that you're comfortable with who you are. I think that's one of the coolest things about you, actually. So,
That I am. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yeah. So, do you have like a big project coming up at all that you kind of want to mention, or are you just kind of just doing your thing at this moment in time?
Just yeah, I'm just doing my thing. I'm like really busy in my business with the digital marketing and stuff. And I'm trying to plot out a book and just I'm kind of just loving life right now. I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing. So, do you want to just plug the website for everybody here, and we wrap it up?
Yeah.
So, for everybody watching, I'm an expert. You can tell I'm very good at my job. So,
There it is.
Trained professional right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kat's website. If you want to go in there for writing, marketing, teaching, this is definitely one of the places to go. Is there anywhere else you want to direct people?
Oh, you guys can find me on like Facebook, Instagram. I'm always up for a chat. Yeah. Send me a message. Ask me a
Bring
question.
whiskey.
Yeah. Bring whiskey.
Yeah, bring whiskey. And
Josh
on that note,
very well.
yes, bring whiskey. Yes, bring whiskey, and you bring good intentions, and she'll definitely be there for you. That will do it for this episode of the podcast. This was a little different than what I normally do. Not that different, but a little different than what I normally do. And because I'm trying something new, we'll see the results hopefully in the next week, because that's kind of the plan. For everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And tomorrow, my guest is Adrian Quijano, the host of the MyConsultant.ca show. And we'll have a wonderful conversation about his masterful plan to take my... No, he didn't do that. He's a really sweet guy. He's a really sweet guy. So it'll be kind of fun. Everybody watching, everybody listening, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.